everyone. Welcome to another round of Chitter Chatter. Today we have Dr. Sheetal Nair, someone who wears too many hats and has written many, many books. And we have so many questions lined up for him to know all of it. So let's welcome Dr. Sheetal Nair on our this Chitter Chatter. In the meantime, till Doctor is here, let me tell you, Dr. Sheetal Nair is an award-winning author, three-time TEDx speaker, a reputed orator, and a human resource professional with more than a decade of experience in facilitating and trading and training with organizations. He's also an entrepreneur and a clinical psychotherapist. Dr. Sheetal has authored many books, and we are also going to talk about his current book, The Weaver. So let's welcome Dr. Sheetal. Hello, welcome to Chitter Chatter.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. All well.
So, doctor, we have a lot of questions. Not our fault because you've done so many things and you're doing so many things that, as much as we wanted to limit our questions, we couldn't.
Okay. Sounds interesting.
So, you wear many hats as an author, as a TEDx speaker, as an entrepreneur, as a psychotherapist, and so much more. So, which are these identities that feel mostly like home to you?
So, honestly speaking, in spite of having all these multiple identities, I am at home as an author. That's number one. But if I'm supposed to list a priority list wise, and number two would be psychotherapist, and then probably an entrepreneur.
So, like storytelling, like you said, firstly, it would be an author. Was storytelling always a part of your life, or did writing find you later?
So storytelling was always a part of my life. I was a single child and used to find myself alone with books a lot of times and had a vivid imagination. So this vivid imagination and with the fact that I was alone, I used to weave a lot of things into my head, stories, narratives, fantasies, multiple things which used to come into the mind of a young child. And I was very lucky because when I was like early teens, I was able to write something and submit to Times of India, and they did publish the same in their paper. And that made me feel really amazing because that made me feel that yes, what I'm writing actually makes sense and people like it because otherwise it's just not possible to suddenly reach to TOI.
Like you said, you were a solo child and, books came to you and then you had this vivid imagination. And as a kid, to get appreciated by TOI, I mean, appreciation is something that all writers and creative people look for. So, what was that feeling if I have to take you back in time and elaborate on that?
So that feeling was of a joy. It was filled with joy and a lot of sorrow. I'll tell you why joy. I mean, it is very understandable because it was joyful with the fact that I was able to be in national media. My work was out there. I belong to a very small town in Gujarat known as Vadodara. And to think that I'll be able to make the cut, and that too, that was like Sunday Times. And that meant that it was there across the country in the same edition. That was amazing. The sorrow part was because I mean they misprinted my name. My name is Sheetal. It's a very interesting name because majority of the times it is misunderstood that I'm a female. So they wrote it as Miss Sheetal.
Oh,
And the worst part was that they wrote my surname also wrong. They wrote it as Miss Sheetal Singh. So only me, I knew, my parents knew because I had written the article that it's gone there. I mean I could never showcase it to anyone. So that was what it was. But then, understand, at a young boy's heart, there was a very clear understanding that what I was writing made a lot of sense because it was not just some random cuckoo stuff which I had just printed out and they printed it in Sunday Times. It didn't happen like that. It's a good structure. And I realized that the time that I'm spending in the library, reading all these famous British authors, had served a lot of purpose for me. So then I started giving more time reading books. And one thing I finitely believe is that if you want to be a good author, you got to be a really, really good reader. Because if you're not a good reader, you will never be able to be a good author.
I second that. I mean, one has to read to know what to write, even if you have the thought, the content, or whatever. If we go back to childhood, what are the books that you even today relive?
Tale of Two Cities, Charles Dickens, loved
Oh,
it.
yeah.
uh, David Copperfield. So Tale of Two Cities because that sort of gives me like that always was the ideal romance for me. Not the fact that Charles gets her, but the fact that Sidney Potter dies for him. So that thing, na, that he gives up his life for someone else, that was always ingrained in me. So I, a lot of times in the initial part of my life, I have written about unrequited love. I've had multiple my own experiences of unrequited love added to that. So this was something which was like a pattern of my journey, forever, like the first 10, 15 years of my writing life. If at all I was writing romance, I was writing about unrequited love and how, it is, uh, when there's this Hindi movie, which says that प्यार में हमेशा it is not necessary that आपको मिल जाए, प्यार का मतलब है छोड़ देना. So stuff like that. So I used to like write a lot about that. And books में, yes, Charles Dickens was one of my favorite authors, other than the Enid Blytons and others of the world. I used to love Shakespeare, not because everyone felt that Shakespeare is like really good, but I still love the structure. You see, you read any of his plays, you yourself do a lot of stage work, so you know for a fact the structure that you get in a play. The man had such an amazing idea that he wrote
Right.
plays wherein he could actually gather or get the attention of the audience completely. The dialogues, the way they are supposed to be delivered. I mean, yes, Romeo and Juliet is very famous, but you pick up anything. You pick up Midsummer's Night Dream, you pick up As You Like It, you pick up any of those famous plays that he's written, and the way he wrote it used to always transform, like rather transport me into some other, place. I used to feel that I'm there. So yeah, these were the initial few, books and writers who used to put a lot of, who had a lot of impact on me.
I don't know whether I should confess this because you're a psychotherapist, but still, I would like to, on this note, I love reading books with unrequited love. It's a sadist thing, but I get a lot of joy when that book makes me cry. So
It
I
does.
totally feel
Does it
it.
not, Shweta?
It
So
does.
the best part, okay, the best part, even today, I know Tale of Two Cities at the back of my hand. But even today, when that scene comes when he's swapping himself with Charles, I still tear up. Right now, I'm getting teary eyed because it's there.
Yeah,
It's
it's
amazing.
immense joy to have
It's
read those
amazing.
scenes and be like, okay. So finally, I can confess this to someone who'll understand. So you've written everything from communication to textbooks to self-help books to fiction. What keeps you pulling back to writing?
So probably the fact that I was always an introvert in my head, and I feel the books are the best way that I could express myself. I love writing, and you give me a pen and paper, even today, I'll just sit and start scribbling. I love stationery. That's another thing. I mean, way before this Japanese stationery hit the market and took it by storm, I was in love with stationery. I used to love ink pens and stuff like that. So I love writing because writing sort of makes me very free. होता क्या है कि श्वेता, इन लाइफ you have a very stable, clear idea. If you're driving a car, it has to be in one specific lane, it has to be one specific speed. You get up in the morning, go and do things. It's all planned. But when you have pen and paper in your hand, you can just write anything
True.
and you are the master of your own destiny. I mean, it's crazy. So you feel very powerful. I mean, I feel very powerful when I write, and that makes me keep going back. I write a lot on Medium. It's a blogging site. I keep writing for different publications there, and I have a really, really good reader base which I have developed there, and that is a place where I experiment. So I write non-fiction, I write fiction, but I write very different kind of fiction, something that probably there aren't too many of readers around in India or abroad. But then these online sites, they give a opportunity for you to reach out to these niche audience which are there across the world. So those are the things which keep me going back to writing, and make sure that I'm either blogging on Medium or writing my diary or just writing for the next novel that I'm supposed to come out with.
If someone met you for the first time and had never read any of your books, what would surprise you? What would surprise them most about you?
If they had never read about my books, the most important thing that they would be surprised with the fact is that I am a very, very, very quiet person. I am a coach, I'm a speaker. I speak a lot. I have an opportunity to speak globally. So, therein, what happens is usually people have this preconceived notion that I should be an extrovert, a lot of energy, a lot of gung stuff. But I'm not. I'm a very quiet kind of a person. I just am very staid and laid back. So many times people get a bit confused about my laid back attitude and my very calm demeanor because they expect someone who's like super aggressive, doing so many things. Because I have so many opinions about stuff which is out there in the world, people feel that this man obviously has multiple opinions, but I don't. So that is one thing that people usually are taken aback by because they usually expecting something, even if they have never read or understood anything about me, just merely listening my name or merely coming to meet me at one of my places, they get completely befuddled with the fact that I am not someone who's super enthused and just, out with so much energy and stuff like that. Very calm, very quiet, kind side of person.
Let's talk about your current book, The Weaver. One thread, endless connections. Where did the first spark of the story come from?
Honestly, I was in an accident, a car crash, 2019. I was bedridden for a good amount of time, and therein, there were multiple line of thoughts which came in. I was reading a book by Sadhguru known as Inner Engineering that time. I was on the bed. It's very famous in engineering. He has got an engineering program also. So once I finished reading the book, I joined the inner engineering program. So the idea that any random person who writes a book, so you pick up a book. So I was influenced at that time by many people, right from Dr. Peter Attia to Sadhguru to Ravi Shankar Maharaj to name it, because I was on the bed, I was just reading. So I suddenly realized that these people who have written the book many, many years ago, today they are touching my mind and they've transformed my life. We sometimes don't even realize that when we meet people, the amount of effect that they have on us. Like, for example, even today we are remotely connected. Shweta, you're in Mumbai, I'm in Baroda. But this time that we're spending with each other, we will obviously leave an impact on each other's mind.
Right.
It happens with everyone. So that is where this the seed of this entire book was germinated, and I started writing about a travel based book. So I travel a lot. I travel a lot across the country because of my speaking gigs and also the fact that I have businesses across the country. So when I travel, I meet people and they share experiences. हिंदुस्तान में क्या वैसे बातें करने के लिए कोई चाहिए, people love to share, right?
True.
So I love to listen. So I have listened to a lot of stories, and this book, The Weaver, is an amalgamation of all the people who have shared multiple things with me, and I've learned a lot. And I have written that down in the book in the form of a travel book. Now, the protagonist of the book is basically based or rather modeled around my son. I basically wanted to hand down my wisdom to him. And the best way to teach children about life, about anything, is stories. So, in reality, The Weaver is a story which I have written to obviously ensure that my son has something to hold on to when I am probably not there. So, that's the idea.
So that's also a reason why your protagonist is so young in the book.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It is very easy, no? If you're very young, it's easy for us to understand and learn. Probably the older that we
Yeah.
get we get a bit fixated in the kind of mindset that we have, and that sort of plays a very big impact. That's what I feel.
So again, why weaving as a central metaphor?
Interesting. The reason why weaving is so initially the book's name was not The Weaver, the book's name was The Loom Keeper. Okay. So the working title of the book was Loom Keeper. Till the time the book did not come out for publication, also, a month before that, we were calling it The Loom Keeper. The idea here was herein is a protagonist who goes through meets multiple people, takes their memories, takes their messages, takes their knowledge, and he makes his own knowledge. So it's like weaving a fabric. So you have fabric from across the country, you weave them together and make your own pattern, right? You make your own beautiful fabric, beautiful cloth, which you can then use it or sell it or whatever you want to do with it. So the idea was here is the man who's going through the different parts of the country, gaining knowledge, coming back to his town and sharing that with his people. Hence, the title was The Loom Keeper. But then we realized that more than the loom keeper, the idea here is that people, I mean, it's a multilingual thing. People are weaving in experiences. Many times we feel that मैं जो आज कह रहा हूँ वो मेरा है, but that's not the reality. Some one person must have said something to me. I am just regurgitating the same thing over to you, and I feel no, it is me who's talking to Shweta. That's not the reality. Someone else has already said this to me, and I'm just sharing it to you. So that is where the weaving part comes in, and that's why it is known as the weaver.
The book feels timeless and almost mythical. Did you always envision it as an allegory rather than a conventional novel?
So I wanted a timeless tale, and that's why you will see in this entire book, anyone who's read it or probably plans to read it will not be able to find that the mention of time here. So there is no clarity as to which era is this book happening, because I wanted it to be in such a way that you pick it up and you feel like, oh, ये तो अभी हुआ है, या तो ये अब हो रहा है, या तो ये शायद 2-3 दशकों पहले हुआ था. Couple of decades ago it must have happened. I wanted that feeling to be there because I have read all these books of, let's say you pick up any good author who has had a deep impact in your mind. Non-fiction authors using fiction to share their perspective. It is always timeless, and that timeless tales stay for a longer, have a deeper impact. Yet, the point here is that I wanted it also to be a metaphorical one. I wanted there to be a metaphor to reach out to people. So, like for example, in the book, there is a mention of Banaras. So when you go to the Ghats of Banaras, the usual idea that we all have is that Banaras is a place where probably dead bodies are burnt, or probably where Kashi Vishweshwar Mahadev is there. So it is Mahadev or the cremation. So these two things, the Ghats take the
Right.
prominence.
Yeah.
But the moment you go to Banaras and you see the people there, you realize people are so different. So more than the place, it is the people who leave an impact on you, right? And they are the ones who have to be given more focus on. So Banaras is there in the book. The boat ride is also there in the book. Yet what is taken back by the boy in the book is not Banaras as an essence, as a religious essence. So it is not a very religiously oriented book. I am not trying to promote one specific religion here. It talks about everything. So it talks about Ajmer, it talks about Banaras, it talks about everything. When he comes back from Banaras, he takes the discussion that he had with an individual there. He doesn't take the ghats with him. So that is was something which I always wanted. I wanted, see, times are changing. Today we are have a very specific mindset. Let's say 50 years down the line, we don't have the similar mindset. If I want the book to be timeless, it has to also make sure that the examples in the book also stay timeless. They should not be handicapped by any specific example, any specific religion, or any specific community or a communal thing. That was a basic idea.
Was there a particular moment in your life that inspired the theme of peace or as something we must actively create rather than, passively seek?
So before 2019 and post 2019, there are different ways I've seen my life change. So post the accident, the way I looked at life changed
Hmm.
drastically. So I realized for a fact that when you look at life in small episodes. Like I did this, I did that. Okay, this is what I've achieved, and this is what I want to achieve. Like for example, I have another book coming out probably next week. I have a 14th June launch, so I am eagerly looking forward to that. So earlier, my life used to be very episodic. One specific event over. But after that, I realized that, if I take myself a bit back and you have an eagle's eye perspective of this, your entire life assembles, rather resembles a piece of a chessboard rather, multiple pieces there. And the more that you look at it like that, you have a eagle's eye perspective to that, you have way more control. And more than control, you have way more peace in life, because now you're not really worried, because kal ke din niche kuch hoga, so there are opportunities to go back on track also. It is not a big thing. Setbacks. So 2019 car crash was a big setback for me, physically, mentally, financially, everything. So I was not a healthy guy. I was 141 kilos. Okay. And from 141 today, I'm in late 70s. The change in my entire physique and physical appearance has also come after 2019. And that is when I found peace in the fact that I'm good. I'm okay where I am. And I think that is what I want to envision and rather profess to everyone around us, that it is not so hard to work for your own peace. It is not necessary that you get agitated when you don't achieve your targets, and you don't really need to run around a specific materialistic stuff or money, because eventually you're good.
True. How much of Sid is inspired by real people that you've met?
So a lot of Siddh is inspired by me, and part by my son. Myself, because I've in my throughout my life I have been a voracious learner, because I have this hunger for knowledge. So you will see the fact that I'm a triple doctorate. I've done my three PhD. Not necessary at all. It could have just finished at one PhD, would have been done, because there's no way that I'm going to call myself a Dr. Cube. That's never going to happen. But I've always had this hunger for knowledge, and that hunger for knowledge has made me meet people. And the only way you can learn, my father always says that the only way you can learn is when you're receiving. So you obviously have to be humble and you have to be just going down and learn. So that is what, inspired Sid, the book, the character, the protagonist of the book too. He's very humble. He's always ready to learn. The first instance when a fakir comes to him and says that you go, he's ready to go. I mean, कौन जाता है अपना घर छोड़ के? उसको आके जब बोला कि you just supposed to go, he just left. He trusted that guy because he felt that that guy has way more experience and he looked at that man as a mentor. So a lot of things in my life have also worked out for me because I've always seen people as mentors, and whenever they've guided me, I've done what they've asked me to do. The other thing that my son is super curious, has an opinion about everything, has a hunger for learning, very much like me. So, and there's a lot of active energy because he doesn't stop. Like, for example, I would rather stop. Someone would say, "Ki, this is this." I was like, "Okay, fair enough. I'll learn, I'll understand, then I come back." But he will not stop. He will continually pursue. So the character Sid in the book also has this thing that he continuously pursues when multiple problems keep coming, but he keeps pursuing the essence of stuff. So these are like me and my son is what I've modeled the book around. Plus, I had these amazing professors in US whom I did my first PhD with. There were three intelligent people who have guided me throughout my life, and a lot of what I am today is because of them. And I have incorporated their mindsets, their perspective, their view of life also in this. As I said, I'm very much pro communal harmony sort of a thing in my head. So I would never like to focus on one specific religion or one specific community a lot. And that harmony, the idea that everything can work harmoniously together is something that I learned from them. Because one of them is Jew, one of them is a Muslim, and the other one is a Christian. And it's crazy stuff. They all talk beautifully about Israel, which is amazing because they talk really nicely about Jerusalem. So the idea is that it harmony can be achieved is something which I have learned from them, and I've tried to bring the same thing in this book too. So yes, these are the few people whom I've built the protagonist of Sid around.
What do you think your protagonist is searching for beneath the obvious search for peace?
Beneath the obvious search for peace, Shweta, is the idea to find as to what exactly is my essence. Why am I alive? Why am I here? So, I mean, if someone comes to you, Shweta, and asks you, Shweta, what is the end goal of your life? If you take every single materialistic thing away from your life, it is very hard for you or me to just come up with something like, हाँ मुझे ये चाहिए. Because usually, majority of what we want would indirectly or directly come to something which is very material, something in which can be touched, felt, or seen.
Right.
It's the same case with everyone. The point here is that I wanted it to be way better than that. So the point here is essence. What exactly is your essence? Why are you there on this terra? Basic उद्देश्य क्या है? What is the goal for you to be here? I'm 110% sure it is not to buy an EV, cause less pollution, create more carbon credits, or make a lot of money. Nothing like that. The day you find your essence, you are at peace because now you know, yeah, this is what I am supposed to do in life.
Do you discover anything about yourself by writing Sid's journey?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Many times when you revisit your life, many times when you think your experience was in this particular manner, and then you start writing about the same thing, you suddenly realize that ये मेरे दिमाग में तो कुछ और था, जब मैं लिख रहा हूँ कुछ और है, like हुआ क्या था? Our memories are technically tarnished. Our memories aren't exactly the same way the way we saw them. Like it automatically, their memories have a lot of experiences and feelings added on them. They're layered on them. And a 10-day or 15-day break would make sure there are multiple layered experiences which go on that memory, and final memory would not be the same thing that you had. So when I was writing, I came to a lot of things that was very different from what I perceived them to be in my head. And that was slightly unsettling also sometimes, but eventually it was nice because I came to know, I realized a lot about what I really want in life. So The Weaver, the second book with Penguin, which I've written right now, New Voice Penguin. So the third book, which is going to come out, that is known as Before the Breaking Point, which is about trauma. The idea for the third book came when I was writing The Weaver, because I realized there's so much burnout, so much trauma around us. We all have crazy cortisol. I mean, Luke Coutinho keeps talking about cortisol. Every single Instagram or influencer talks about cortisol. So we are all in a very, very precarious situation because we are all at the precipice of being burnt out.
Right.
Fatigue, burnt out, trauma. So we were likhte likhte, I realized that yes, this was something which I can do. And then I completely shifted to writing the third book. And that is why the Weaver came out in December. The third book is coming out in June because it was done simultaneously because of the Weaver.
How much being a psychotherapist influences your writing?
A lot. I mean, technically, I work in a very interesting field of psychotherapy. I'm a relationship coach who specializes in extramarital affairs. I'm a certified affairs coach, and the kind of clients whom I meet, I know whom I reach out to, uh, a lot of experiences which are shared to me brings me back to earth. And because majority of times when we watch movies or read stuff or probably even spend a lot of time with a family, you do not realize the kind of life people are living outside. And these stories, these narratives which my clients share with me, the way I'm able to help them, they they significantly impact me in the way I live my life and I write my books. So, like the book which is coming after the Before the Breaking Point is purely about infidelity. It's about why people cheat and what is the science behind it. Is it okay to be cheated upon? How do people perceive infidelity as? And is it something that is going to be okay? Because you see, the next generation, which is going to be starting dating soon, let's call them the 15 to 20
Hmm.
age group. 15 to 20, so they must have already started dating. I'm so sorry. Let me go a bit piche. 8 to 12, the 8 to 12 age group, which will be starting to date probably in another couple of years' time, the way they're going to date is going to be very different. I mean,
Yeah.
one man may have multiple partners, one woman may have multiple partners, and that's going to be okay. You have terms like orbiting, situationships, or benching, etc., 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 which keeps coming in. So the way we look at relationships is also changing. So a lot of times, my sessions with my clients make me know a lot about what's happening in the society and increases my knowledge and brings me back to reality. And I feel that it's my responsibility to bring it to a broader base as to how life is lived. Just because we are Indians and we have a very specific mindset, we are very orthodox in the way we think. हमें लगता है that everything is happening in US or America or England or the European countries. It's not like that.
True.
It is happening right beside your home. It's happening in the next door. Everything is happening around us. And the faster that we become acclimatized to that and faster that we accept it, the easier it is for us to survive. Otherwise, it's going to be shocker for us.
Of the four threads, patience, surrender, impermanence, and stillness, which do you practically find most difficult to practice?
Technically, I find everything difficult to practice, but the reality is that, I think surrender is one thing which I have had my problems with. Uh, you see, to surrender is to give up. You either surrender to the God, with the Almighty, because you feel that whatever I do, he is or she is seeing. I am not a misogynist, so he and she, I'm using both the terms here. So you do not know if he is or she is there, and I'm just going to surrender myself to him or her, and whatever happens by God's will. It
Hmm.
is very easier said than done. हो नहीं पाता है because everyone, you, me, or people around us, we are all technical control freaks, right? We have
Absolutely.
the way we schedule our lives, the way we live it, the way we kind of food we eat, we love to have control. Good to have control. But if you live your life full of control and then you want to surrender to the Almighty, I mean, that is technically paradoxical in nature. How does that happen? It's not possible. So that is where I keep finding myself at a, sort of a crossroad, because sometimes in trying to exercise control on my life and the life of my clients so that they lead a happier life, I cannot bring myself to surrender. But then I remember Gita. So Krishna in Gita says some very interesting things. But the most important that he says is that everything is me. हर जगह मैं ही तो हूँ. तुम क्या कर रहे हो? तुम तो कुछ नहीं कर रहे हो, जो भी कर रहे हो मैं कर रहा हूँ, तो इतना स्ट्रेस क्यों ले रहे हो? So what is the need to take so much stress? So then I am reminded of that and like, yeah, let's try to surrender. But see,
Right.
again, as I said, it's very hard.
Yeah, it is. And also, like you said, it's very paradoxical because you're trying to control at one point, and at the same point, you're trying to
Give
surrender.
up. Yeah. I mean, how does that
That's
happen? I mean, it sounds very weird. I mean, imagine taking, you're going to gym and the trainer saying, "Come, this is how you lift. When you lift, just let the weight go." But how it will happen?
As a psychotherapist, do you think modern people are searching for peace in the wrong places?
Oh yeah. All of us are searching for peace in the wrong places. We feel that life is a supermarket, and you just go to these beautiful places and you find these amazing labeled, as Revant Himant Sinka says, with the ingredients in front. Everything is around, and we just go and pick and choose. आज मुझे बहुत stress हो रहा है. Okay, I'll just go and pick up a ginger ale which has got some extra minerals in it, and I'll be perfectly fine. Life is not like that. It is weird. I mean, you look at the way we buy stuff, and that actually influences with the way we think also. Look, for example, I don't have enough protein in my diet. Okay, I'll just have some protein water. How does that work? I
Right.
mean, think about it. Let's be very, very clear about it. You are trying to tell your mind that I will just simply have a protein water. I will not consume food at all the entire day. Probably have 3 glasses of protein water, 22 grams, 66-gram protein in. Does that work? It doesn't. So that is exactly what is happening to all of us. We just go and we are looking for these quick fixes. We want instant results. मेरा स्किन काफी खराब है, चलो मैं जाके ग्लूटाथियोन का आईवी ड्रिप ले लेता हूँ. Oh,
Correct.
instant fairness. How does that work? What happens to your sleep pattern? What happens to your food? What happens to your routine? If you don't take care of all these things and just are relying on IV drip for your skin to look better, it is your skin is going to give up. That's exactly what is happening in our life also. We are trying to find peace and we are trying to find tranquility in random places because we are all looking for instant fixes. Instant fixes never work. A simple example I'll say, you take a piece of paper, okay, you tear it, and then you put a band-aid on it. And after you take the band-aid off, will the paper be joined together? It can't, na? It is not human skin, right? So you cannot use the band-aid on a paper. So you cannot use the same strategy at every place. You have to be very clear what you're doing, why you're doing, and are you actually, does it actually make sense to you? And that is why you'll find these Instagram gurus everywhere who are peddling whatever they want to peddle on Insta, on all social media accounts, and people are buying them. Also, they are trying to find their quick fixes here.
Right.
And fortunately, there are people out there to sell their stuff also, so that works very well. So, right from your protein water to random injections and injectables, your life can go for a toss.
So, like you said, that while you were writing this book, the next one came up to you, and that's why so soon the next book is there. So, what can the readers expect from you from the next book, and a little about that?
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Shweta. So, I was heavily influenced by Ikigai, and I used to have a program. I still have a program known as Amplification of Ikigai. So I help people find their Ikigai, and then I help people amplify. I want to like impact, increase the impact of Ikigai. That used to be something which I used to do for corporates. I've been doing that for the past 8 years now. And while I was doing that, I encountered a very interesting concept known as Fubutsushi. So Fubutsushi is a Japanese word. The petrichor, the smell that comes when the raindrop falls, the first raindrop. We all have that smell,
Yeah.
the wet smell of earth coming in. So fubutsushi is that. Fubutsushi is a feeling which comes to your mind via smells or memories, which suddenly bring an emotion. Like for example, the smell of petrichor, the smell of rain, will automatically make us very nostalgic, make us melancholious, make us feel like having a cup of tea or probably some fried fritters. That's what our brain brings in, right? So that is what fubutsushi. So using fubutsushi as a technique, I was able to develop a way to for people to handle breakouts or burnouts, fatigue, trauma, and you feel like you are stuck somewhere. I had this technique, and that's what we call it. We call it the DSN way. That is the define, shift, and nurture. This three methodology, 24 steps to take control of your life so that I mean, we all love, I mean, I am a psychotherapist. We have clients walking in everywhere. But many times people are a bit skeptical. And even if they go to the psychotherapist, they want to have something like a tool which can help them get control of their life, right? So that is what this book is about, how you can get control of your life using Fubutsushi and the DSM way to break out small things, small patterns, identify that and try to break out of the trauma, break out of all the cortisol buildup that is happening in your mind.
What do you hope from your readers after they finish reading your book?
So you're talking about the Weaver or the breaking point?
You've been
Before,
writing a lot, so I want to know that what is your intention with every book that you write for the readers?
okay, a very, how do I put it? A very weird thing. For any and every book that I've written, I just want the reader to go and learn something out of it and use that book as a tool. Fiction, non-fiction. I mean, that sounds weird. I mean, usually non-fictions can be tool, but how does a fiction become a tool? So I had written a book known as 21 Shades of Love. I wrote it because I felt that there is so much dirty love around us. When I say dirty love, it's because major love that we feel or we see around is very lust. It's all about sex,
Right.
making up and shit like that. So people have, I felt people have completely forgotten what love is, you know. We
Right.
had that feeling. I mean, I still remember the first time I saw Dil To Pagal Hai on screen. I felt like touching the screen when I saw the characters come in. I mean, that love also exists, यार. वो भी होता है. ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि this Netflix kind of love, अब 18 plus love only is love. So I wanted people to use that. So anything and everything that I write, I want people to just take something out of it and learn and use that as a tool in their own life. So 21 Shades of Love had 21 shades of love, 21 different kinds of love, and I wanted people to discover love in their life. That's what it was about. I mean, the Weaver I've already shared. Before the breaking point is obviously a tool, specific tool to break free, break out of all the trauma that you've had. And the book on infidelity, which is going to come out, is going to talk extensively about how relationships are dynamically changing and how you can identify if at all you are in a relationship where you're being cheated on or you probably are the one who's cheating on your partner. So it depends on that. Yeah,
Before we end this chitter chatter, quick rapid fire round. Ready?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Patience or ambition?
Patience.
Mountains or rivers?
Reverse.
Silence or conversation?
Silence.
One word that defines peace.
Tranquility.
One book everyone should read at least once.
Psychology of money.
One habit that changed your life.
Reading.
If you could leave listeners with just one sentence from the Weaver, what would it be?
Life is a journey, but if you don't take it, you will not make it.
One shade of love from 21 Shades of Love.
Love is popcorn. Love is simple, basic emotion. Do not overcomplicate it by putting too much weight on it. It's very simple. It's one of the simplest feelings. And that's what 21 Shades of Love is all about.
The breaking point, one word for it.
Define, shift, nurture. You define what your problem is, shift your mindset, and nurture the strategy to break free.
Infidelity.
Infidelity, it's there, it's real, it's true. You are either a part of it or you are living it. Try to find the best way to live around it.
Sid returns carrying a thread of peace back to his village. As we wrap up today, what is that one thread you'd like every listener to carry back from our podcast?
It was a wonderful discussion with you, Shweta. One thing which I want people to always understand is that in your life, there are going to be multiple ups and downs. I shared at least two of mine. I'm sure the same are there with you, Shweta, too. And I'm sure the listeners must have gone through all that. But the law of physics always says one specific that whatever goes down comes up. That's life. So make sure that if something has gone down, it is going to come up. Stay positive in life and try to reach out to people so that they can help you and try to always be humble enough to receive knowledge. If you can take anything out of this podcast, take this, that the more humble you are to receive, the more that you will receive. And हमको सबको अच्छा लगता है when we receive stuff.
So, thank you so much, Doctor, for your time for this chitter chatter. It was great chatting with you, and we're looking forward for the future books and to learn
Thank
from
you,
all of them.
Shweta. Thank you, Shweta. It was wonderful chatting with you. Thank you.